morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Let me get this over here. Hopefully, a little better sound from the microphone. How are you guys doing today? You guys are hopping on. Hopefully, we're going live. Hopefully, it's working. Let's see. So, how are you guys? Are we good? Good morning, Alexis. Welcome, Alexis. You are a champ, a constant, consistent viewer. Appreciate you being here and always saying hello. Debbie, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, guys. So, as you guys are popping in, I don't know if you guys, sometimes see the caption or not. But today the caption is Ask Me Anything. If you could ask, what would you ask? And ask away. I'd love to, talk about that, whatever that may be, and cover some of those things. And then today's topic, something that I was trying to figure out. It's like, all right, what do I want to share with you guys? We're a lot of things going on. Isagenix. We mentioned yesterday about some things coming, some things in the pipeline. Let's see, all the Fiji Fast Start winners were announced yesterday. I know Kelly's gonna help me with that as far as figure out who all in our team won that, and I am so happy for you guys grabbing that extra $200 as well. Excited about some of the new products coming. That's going to be here this summer. You're my pleasure. Good morning, guys. Oh, there we go, Alexis. Coming with the questions. So if you guys have questions, ask me anything. But as you guys are formulating those, let me talk to you about something. Hopefully this doesn't, take you off. If you have a question, ask me. So I read this morning, and it's about envy. And, I'm going to share a personal story that I've had to deal with there. But I'm going to say this is envy is the religion of the mediocre. And what that goes into is don't envy what people have, but rather emulate what they did to get there. So I'm going to share a story that from one of my mentors about that. And then I'll share a personal story where I had to deal with that and eat some humble pie and whatever else. So the John Maxwell, one of my mentors, he tells this story that he was at an event he was speaking in. I think he was in Salt Lake. And he got done presenting. There was, maybe 1,500, 2,000 people there. And he was signing books afterwards. And this young man, he's probably in his late 20s, he said, came up to him and said, man, I just really loved, what you presented. It's like, I want to do what you do. And John looks at him and is like, okay, that's good, and that's awesome. And he goes, do you want to do what I did? So I could do what I do. In order to do what I do, I got to did what I did. And, he kind of plays with it and has fun with the words. But ultimately, are you willing to do what others have done to get what they have? And if you're envious and saying, I want that, but you aren't willing to do what they did to get what they have, then that's envy. And that's just plain ugly. And there's other ways that envy can show up. So a few years ago, Kelly and I led a book study with the book, The Most Excellent Way to Lead by Perry Noble. And in that book, he had a chapter on envy. And he said, do you guys envy anyone? Maybe it's you envy someone that you work with. Maybe it's you envy someone that you lead. Maybe it's you envy someone in your life. And I can remember exactly where I was listening to the book. It was an Audible book. I was in my backyard. I was mowing. And it was in a season where I started listening to books on Audible. And I started listening to books on Audible is because I had the time and I was mowing grass. And I was like, you know what? I'll mow, I'll listen. And I listened to The Most Excellent Way to Lead. I listened to Grant Cardone's The 10X Rule, a few other books, the Jonah Berger books that I mentioned. And in that, again, I felt really convicted from Perry Noble, and I was like, ooh, I do kind of envy someone. And I envied someone in our Isagenix business. And I envied this leader, and they had no idea. And I realized it was kind of a little ugly spot in my heart, and I was like, I need to deal with this. So I called the person up and I said, hey, I need to tell you something I'm dealing with this. I want to be honest. I want to be transparent. there's a little bit of envy. There's a little bit of envy because you're winning a lot of awards. Your business is growing like crazy, and this was one of our personally enrolled, and I had to call her, and I shared that with her, and I don't know if it was a good learning lesson for both of us, but at the same point, I look back and say, hey, dealing with that envy was also a stepping stone towards growing. And I've realized that a lot of times it is, just the stepping stones that you need to have. And if you find yourself where you envy someone, and say it's you envy someone you work with, say it's someone that you envy and you're in a relationship with, that's just wishing you had what they have, but you're not willing to do what they're doing. And so if you're not willing to do what they do, then why should you have what they have? So in order to have what they have, you have to do what they do. And if you do what they do, quite honestly, you're going to find out that it's a lot more enjoyable than just having what they have. And that is envy. And again, I had to humble myself. I had to go because I wanted there to be a kind of a clearing of air, and a lot of that was on me. And so having to call this person, and I think, quite honestly, I could ask her again, and it'd be interesting to wonder what she thought about that a couple years later, but how she felt about that. And maybe there's some times where you feel like, someone hit a rank before you did in your downline. Maybe your upline hit a rank and you're like, oh, well, they didn't thank me enough, or whatever it may be. Well, that's envy, right? And that gets back to, are you willing to do what they've done to get what they have? And reality is, envy is just a poison that you're settling into mediocrity, saying, well, I can't have what they have. Well, are you willing to do what they do? So that's what I wanted to share in regards to envy. And if you guys want to know any more about that, talk any more about that, man, please bring it up. Ask me anything if you could. And so Alexis is doing a push week. What do you think is the quickest way to get some enrollments? Okay. So this has been a topic I kind of shared a couple weeks ago. I think I shared on some not only coffee chats, but also some power hours. One of the things that I've kind of since then, I think, is a better way to describe a quote unquote push week is a focus week. And what are you focusing on? And in my world, and the way I look at our business, when I look at consistency over time, to me, the focus week should be on the week where, over a pattern of time, you've had actually lower cycles, lower enrollments, lower volume. And so then you're kind of saying, what can I do to focus on that week to get it up with the rest of them? And I think, in one of the calls that I shared is like, if you're at 20, I'm just going to use this example. I'll use this example. You're at 10, you're at 6, you're at 2, you're at 8 cycles. Where should you focus on? The week that you're at 2. Because that brings down the average as opposed to bringing that up. And then you're going to be more consistent. You're going to have more of consistent cash flow. You're also going to have more consistent daily activities. So people are, hey, if I'm following up with new enrollments, if I'm following up with AutoShip people, instead of one week having 20 and the next week having 1, you even that out. And so I really feel like after having some discussions, it should be better called a focus week. And so what should you do to get some enrollments that focus week? Well, realize, what is your focus? Your focus isn't so you can cram a bunch of volume into one week to hit a rank. Because the reality is, just to hit a rank is not what this business is about. Ranks happen and they signify where your business is growing. But if you shoot for a rank of 1 star and 2 star, and so that's 10 cycles or 20 cycles, but your average over a month is 3 cycles, is that really your income? No, that was just one shot in the dark. Anyone can hit a home run if you give them enough chances. But to be a home run hitter, you have to do it consistently. Anyone can hit a 3-point basket. But in order to be a deadly 3-point game-winning shooter, you got to do it consistently. And so anyone in this essence, get this, can be a 2-star. But a real 2-star, someone that's really earning at the level of, say, $50,000 to $100,000 a year, because that's kind of what a 2-star, 50,000 2-star is about. You got to do it more than just one week, right? And so it's about that consistency. So that focus is to bring up the consistency. So to answer your question, Alexis, is what do you do to get the quickest way to enrollments? Is It isn't so much, in my opinion, about how can I get enrollments, but am I connecting with people? Am I getting those people? Am I filling my quote unquote pipeline to where every day I'm connecting and I'm reaching out and I'm developing new relationships and so maybe that focus week is actually doing a little bit more of those activities and measuring that, knowing that the enrollments will come, because sometimes even the enrollments don't come necessarily during that week, they come the following week. And so I would look at it to say, and I would caution you, don't look at trying to get the sale. Look to adding value on how can I add more value to people. Have conversations with them. Sit down and have presentations. Go through the conversations with what would it look like to, partake in the business and be a part of, the ICGX community. And that's going to lead to much longer sustainable business than how can I quickly get people enrolled, because there's people that are ultra talented at closing, and they can go out and they can say hi to, oh, I'm not a bird watcher, but we have a couple yellow finches right outside my window. Anyways, squirrel. Um, they can convince anyone to do something. And then all of a sudden the next day, they feel ugly inside, the people that bought, because they're like, I didn't really do that. I just got convinced. And that's the worst thing that can happen. Okay, let me see questions. I used to be so like that, but I shifted my energy to be used it to fuel, let off measurement, my own actions. Awesome. Just said, okay. First enrollment, this is perfect. Next, consistency compound. Yep. Looking from the top down, at what rank do you, ICGX, respect them as a business builder? I don't think it's a rank. I think there's things, Cassandra, great question. I don't think, you know, it's kind of a deep question, okay? And it may take me a few minutes, but let me wrestle with this and say, I don't believe you're a leader when you hit a certain rank. And that's been based upon my own personal experiences. That's also been based upon the idea and thought that you can have a lot of leadership qualities and it isn't necessarily tied to a rank. And you can have a rank and none of those leadership qualities are tied to it. What happens is there's different circumstances. And so when I believe you respect them as a business builder is when you commit to saying, hey, I'm building a business. And I'm building a business and I'm saying this is what I'm in. And I believe, honestly, that is getting to consultant. And that is a mark, that is a level that we track. And I think that's just kind of the first step in the door. Say, hey, I made money. Yeah, I'm building a business. Now, a lot of that comes up here. That's more internal than it is external. Because you can be building a business and at the same point, you could, not truly believe it. And then it's more of a hobby. And all of a sudden you can, be a hobbyist and you're just kind of one foot in, one foot out. But when you're mentally saying, hey, I'm a business builder. And what does building a business mean? Building a business means helping others. That's what building is you're creating structure to something where there wasn't. And so when you're building others, that is in and of itself leadership, that's influence. And to me, that isn't necessarily a rank. That isn't necessarily a title. And that's backed up by a lot of other people that I've learned from. And so, I think that is committing to do the do. I think that's willing to grow and learn, because I'll say this, I am willing, absolutely, if someone's willing to put in the effort and do 100%, dude, I'll work with them. I don't care what rank they are. And at the same point, if someone's like, hey, they want to, fall on their title. All right, here's just a this is by no means a slight on anyone. Okay. I'm not real title oriented. I don't know if I have any titles, but I'm not real title oriented. And some of the most humble, gracious people I've ever been around are people with titles and they don't hang their hat on it. And so I can remember when I first professionally, and I was in a profession that, there was people that had PhDs that were more highly regarded than people that just had bachelor's degrees. And yet they had zero field experience. They maybe didn't have any other, inherent other than a few more years of school. And the people that always hung onto their doctor title irritated me. And I had some of my greatest friends were PhD doctors in the nutrition arena, and yet you would never know. And, I can remember his name, a friend of mine, his name is Chell. And when I first met him, he's used to people in his position who are like, oh, my name is Dr. Moore. And he's like, hi, my name's Chell. And very humble. And he was always Chell. He wasn't Dr. Moore. He wasn't this or that. He didn't put it above him. And guess what? You felt like you were in position with him and you guys could be teammates and you guys could work together. But all of a sudden, when you put that doctor, you put that title, you're like, oh, I'm a 6-star. Oh, I'm a platinum. It's like bullshit. You're just a person that wakes up and pees in the middle of the night too. So you're no better. You're no better than anyone else. And so quit that and just go about the day and be a better person. And from that, help other people be better. Deep breath. That's my feelings on that. Okay. Top tip to challenge yourself. Top tip to challenge yourself. Be better today than you were yesterday with the intention of being better tomorrow than you were today. That's how you challenge yourself. It's like, look where you're at today. The best that you can do today is tomorrow's floor and continually build off that. And sometimes you have to admit you fail, but that's okay because failing means you're at least willing to move forward. If you're not willing to fail, you're not willing to try. And if you're not willing to try, that means you're not in action, you're not doing anything, and you're just stuck there in that kind of mediocrity. So Carrie's comment here in my coaching business, I find that the seeds I plant take 3 months to grow. So I think of what I sow this quarter will be what I reap next. Absolutely. So the more seeds you sow, the more opportunity you have to reap. The more consistently you sow, the more consistently you can reap. That's great. Okay. Any other questions? Ask me anything. Did you guys get value out of some of this? Please bring me more. What more do I have? The Rocky theme, let's go. We could do a little Rocky. I could have some, Eye of the Tiger. I had the other day I hopped on a Zoom that a friend of mine hosts, and he goes, we close out with a song, and he's like, what song do you have for me? And so I was like, I don't have songs. I'm not like I listen to beats. And so I said, okay, here's the deal. Little AC/DC, a little Back in Black. And so he's like, Alexa, play Back in Black by AC/DC. And the song starts playing. I'm like, that's not Back in Black. He's like, well, I just said it. And we asked it several times. And Alexa, I stumped Alexa. Alexa couldn't figure it out. If you're not an AC/DC fan, just bear with me. And Alexa was playing Hell's Bells. And I asked for Back in Black. Eventually, after a couple times, it played the right song, and when you know it. And anyways, it was funny. What is the next book on your list to read? The next book on my list to read, I am pulling up Audible. I have a bunch on my desk, but this book from it is my on my list. It is The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. And that was a book that was recommended to me by John Maxwell. He read several years ago. And I might get to that one today. We're going on a little drive as a family, so I think I might be able to throw in my AirPods and listen to that. So, hopefully that answered. You guys get value out of this? Please bring me questions, bring me comments. Sometimes I have thoughts. Sometimes I just ramble. I'd much rather add value to you guys where you can, get it, where you need it, where I can help, and not just whatever little world that I'm in today. So, that is that, and I'm not going to bore you guys with a song to leave, but a little Eye of the Tiger. You want to throw that on. You want to throw on some AC/DC, whatever gets you going. And if that's some worship and praise music, hey, do you get it? That's fine. So thanks for being here, guys. I will see you back here tomorrow. Can't believe tomorrow's already going to be Thursday. Holy cow. This week is going fast, but it's a good week. And excited for this is kind of a get ready to run week. It's get all your ducks in order. We had a little holiday. There's a lot of things going on. Sowing those seeds, right? Carrie and Alexis, absolutely. So. And okay, one last question here from Cassandra. What would you have done differently in your first year? I would have devoted a lot more time to learning what real leadership was, starting with leading myself. That was stuff that I was in tune to. I kind of thought and did. I would have made it set up a daily 5. John Maxwell's Power of Five is great. It's growth, mindset, leadership, significance, and connecting. So just focus on those five every single day. And a big part of that is growth. And I would have focused on leading myself, because you have to learn how to lead yourself where you can really effectively lead others. All right, signing off. See you guys back here tomorrow, and have a great day.